Hello, I'm Dr. Edward, the Healing Vet. I'm here for my weekly check-in and conversation with you all around helping your pets, but talking a little bit more about helping your pets from higher level, more abstract kind of themes and ideas. Because you, the human being, you are the most important influence in your pet's health, in your pet's happiness, in everything in your pet's life. It's in a very important way, it's all about you, and the happier and healthier you are and the better you look after yourself, the more you're looking after your pets and the more able you are to look after your pets. So today, what I want to talk about, the themes are willingness and growth. Now, I spent a lot of my life where I wasn't interested in growing. And what I found was that sooner or later, growth caught up with me and chased me around with a big stick and beat me up until I went through a phase of usually fairly rapid, extremely uncomfortable growth due to some kind of illness or accident or incident that turned my life upside down, and I had to change everything, and it was extremely uncomfortable and difficult. Now, what I have found since I've decided to play around with the idea of willingness is that no matter how difficult something in my life seems, if I just start off with willingness to begin, to change, to grow in whatever ways needed for that particular thing, whether it might be exercising more, it might be eating better, it might be any one of those 101,000 things that we all have in our lives that we know we would be far better off if we did, but we just don't get around to it. Because why? Because nearly all of the things that we need to be willing to do to grow and change in our lives in a healthy way, which then, of course, positively impacts our beautiful pets in a really beautiful way, is that we have to be willing to experience and endure healthy discomfort in a meaningful way. Most people avoid healthy discomfort, and guess what? Your pets, well, they're not interested in healthy discomfort either. Now, one thing I've found with working with animals, with teaching humans how to build a stronger relationship with their pets, have healthy boundaries, healthy diet, do all the things that the pets need to feel safe, to learn, to be well-trained, well-behaved, all of these things. One of the things I've found is that, it always involves some level of healthy discomfort for your pets. Like I was teaching my little whippet puppy today, oh, we're going to walk on the lead. And she's like, I don't want to walk on the lead. I'm out of here. I'm going to run over there. I'm going to sniff that. I'm going to want to catch up to Mitzi. I'm going to pull on the lead. And I had to keep going, no, Jem, come back. Pressure, release, turn around. I must have turned around Jem 50 or 100 times on our walk down to get the mail and back. And she got a little frustrated at one point and flopped down and gave me stink eye. But I'm just not going to tolerate her pulling on the lead because it's bad for her body. And when she gets big, it'll be bad for me and my body, right? So this is a healthy no to Jem, a healthy no. You're not allowed to pull on the lead. Now, she doesn't like it. So I've got to work with my dogs in a way that brings them to some kind of willingness. Now, I've got to be willing to do that first. I've got to be willing to be determined and be in a kind way with my pets. I've got to be determined to be willing to ask my little puppy to actually walk on the lead without pulling on the lead. Now, if you walk up the street and you look at 50 dogs, around about 48 of them are likely to be pulling on the lead. And that's because these humans have never been determined enough to actually take the time, number one, to teach that dog how to understand pressure and yield to pressure on the lead. And number two, be consistent and determined enough with that dog that the dog learns that pulling on the lead is not acceptable. So you have to have a whole lot of willingness. And then you have in the human to do what's needed to do to stop pulling on the lead, for instance. It's just one example. There's lots of other things like fasting your animals 1 day a week, might be another. So you, the human, have to be willing to say no to your animal. And you have to be willing to be determined to move through your animal's no way, I don't like that emotional response until you come out the other side. And the thing is that by the end of the walk, my little gem, my new little whippet, she was walking willingly and comfortably on a loose lead. It took about half an hour to get to that point, and some real patience and determination from my point of view. And she had to find patience because of my patience in the end. Now, what does this mean? It means that willingness is always the first step towards healthy, comfortable growth. We all have things that we know we need to do. And I got to tell you, if you put them off, sooner or later, something inevitable and awful will make you confront them and grow. That way of growing, I can tell you from personal experience, is not a whole lot of fun. It comes with a whole cost of distress and stress and discomfort and unhealthy discomfort if you put off growth by being unwilling. So my invitation for you is to really explore this idea of willingness. I bet you $50 that you have a number of things that you could be doing in your life, that you perhaps even want to be doing in your life, that would make a really positive impact on and in your life, but you're not doing them. Nearly always, this is because doing those things, like maybe doing push-ups and chin-ups in the morning, or stopping eating dairy, or cutting out sugar, or whatever, or exercising, whatever the thing is, there's going to be a degree of healthy discomfort in everything that you do that leads to some kind of healthy growth. This is where the willingness comes in. I invite you to be willing to step up and cultivate willingness to do the thing or the things that you know you need to do for yourself. And that gives you good practice then when you've gone through the growth process and experienced the healthy discomfort, then you'll be able to show up for your pets and really bring that willingness to gently demand of your pets and be determined that you help them be healthy and well by giving them appropriate healthy yes and healthy no, and not crumbling when they give you the big sad puppy dog eyes and tell you they're going to die if they don't get some dinner right now, or whatever it is. So this is something that when I'm talking about willingness and growth, it's something that I have extensively road tested in my own life. And if you've got one thing in your life, just pick one thing to start with, whatever it is that you could be doing, that would be really good for you in your life, but you're not doing yet. And just start saying to yourself, I'm willing to do that thing. And say to yourself a couple of times a day. And after a week or two, there's every chance that you'll just naturally and easily and gracefully start doing that thing, because you've started off by being willing. And my experience is that everything gets about 1,000,000 times easier once you've got willingness, and then growth is natural and comfortable compared to forced growth by putting off the things and having a disaster. Okay, that's it for this week. Have fun with your pets. Give them a pat for me, and I'll see you next week.